Don't ever talk to me or my son again. Guess who was right? Me. I don't know if you remember, but I did a video in which I was talking about Jeffree Star's new makeup palette, which we are comfortably calling it the Ogre palette on my channel due to monetization rules, because Jeffree can say the actual name of it and will not get, you know, any strikes or demonetized on his channel because YouTube love him. But if I say anything close to the actual name of this palette, channel gone. As it should be, honestly. Like, these names that he's using are so inappropriate, and I have an issue with that, and it's just like, of course I would not reciprocate that on my channel, so we are calling it the Ogre palette right now. And you know what? I'm gonna call it the Ogre palette. I saw someone actually quoted me in a news article and called it the Ogre palette, and it was like, from a YouTuber. Bitch, name me! But no, in all seriousness, it was actually my subscribers who told me to call it the Ogre palette, so love y'all, my trishy fishies. Why have I started doing that? So first of all, before we get into Jeffree Star responding to the lack of success of this palette release, Jeffree Star prides himself on not being a discount brand, which recently he's actually been on sale a lot in a different bunch of stores after getting dropped by Morphe, so that argument's a little bit gone. And also, he's always said that he's been a sellout, in a good way, brand, that his products always sell out. We see this very dead-ass clearly in the Shane Dawson Jeffree Star series, where they were saying, yeah, it's gonna sell out, and then whenever it sold out, they were like, if the site didn't crash, it was gonna sell out in 15 minutes. Like, Jeffree Star prides himself on the fact that his stuff sells out. So whenever he did this palette, which by the way, it was not just a palette, it was an entire drop. It was his summer release that he was teasing in his Doing What's Right video. I saw this video on TikTok and it was this guy and he makes me laugh so hard. And he copies what Jeffree does and he did the Jeffree film in an apology and it was all the fake crying and stuff, and then it was like, Maddie, let's take the thumbnail. And it was like, so true, because that's like what it seems like in all these different, you know, scandals that he addresses. He has a different, like, thumbnail! What the fuck? Right? Right. So him coming back with such a big release after such a big scandal that he really didn't address, and whenever he did address it, it was way too late and it was actually terrible. It was really brave of him to try release anything, and I said initially that it was not going to be, you know, a success because of that, but then I also said that him throwing in this inappropriate value is so dumb to me because he knows, whether you want to admit it or not, he has a very young audience. Young kids and teenagers. Again, people are like, at what stage is Jeffree responsible for that because he's the creator and it's parents? And I agree. I literally agree with the argument that it's the parents' responsibility as well as the creator to know who's watching what videos. I 100% agree on that, so I'm not fully coming after Jeffree for that point. I want to make that clear. I think I have in the past, but whenever I reevaluate it, yeah, I think it's a mutual thing. And the parents are the ones at home, not Jeffree, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Jeffree now knows that he has a young audience and pushes the stuff that's really sexual. And it's just kind of weird because he knows that that's what his demographic is. Like, all it needs is to look at his meet and greet photos and it's literally like young teenagers. Right? And all these parents posting pictures on Twitter of their young kids trying out his makeup for the first time. Teach them young, Karen. Everything about the branding and everything about him coming back way too soon, I knew this palette release and everything, the entire drop was not going to be successful, but Jeffree Star insisted that, you know what, it was going to be his biggest drop yet. And now, aside from the overly sexual name and just how irresponsible that was whenever he knows he's a younger audience, the shade names was also a controversy. Now, Jeffree loves doing things, and he makes it very clear that he does them for attention and for controversy. So, what I'm going to show you in a second is Jeffree responding to the fact that the palette actually didn't do that well, and him speaking out on it, and basically implying that he knew this palette wasn't going to get pushed and stuff. Oh, come on! Come on! As a business point of view, how do you go into the meetings? You're like, hello, I am the owner. We're going to do this palette. Now, it's not going to get pushed on Google. It's not going to get pushed on YouTube. Not many people are going to see it. Let's put all of our money into it. It does not work like that. He was teasing this as in his biggest launch yet. He thought this was going to sell out. And you know what? It didn't. So what we're going to do is just watch what Jeffree had to say. Now, I think it's so funny because everything normally in a Jeffree release will sell out within the first business day. Now, for Jeffree, days, nothing. Days, nothing. And like, one mirror and maybe a jumper sold, like, not even your palette. Like, I don't know if they just put up a sold out sticker, you know, to like tide people over to think, ooh, Ooh. But it's the fact that Jeffree responded to all of this criticism. People were literally like, ooh, you flopped. And he responded with, this has been my most successful yet. I knew it wasn't gonna get... Let's watch.
Also, with being the name of the collection, it was a little tricky to get social media behind it. YouTube was like, girl, we are not gonna promote that video. It was very amazing for them to put it on trending, but Google was like, that word. We had an emoji filter for Instagram here, got denied. Anything that you tag with emoji will not be pushed and have lower engagement. So I knew what I was getting myself into, but I'm like, girl, it's a word, and it really isn't of nudes, past the sexual, under feeling really, really humbled and really grateful. So thank you if you're watching this. Also,
okay, whatever you say, Jeffree. Okay, now I'm gonna listen to it and talk about it because there's some errors in what he's saying, obviously.
And also, with being the name of the collection, it was a little tricky to get social media behind it. YouTube was like, girl, we are not gonna promote that video.
YouTube said, girl, we're not gonna promote that video. But then he contradicts himself.
It was very amazing for them to put it on trending.
So YouTube said to Jeffree, hey girl, we're not gonna push that video, and then they were like, let's put it on the trending. What? It's also probably no coincidence that Jeffree's apology video was also trending at #1 on YouTube, so... guess you can really buy anything these days.
Allegedly. But Google was like, that word. We had an
So Google was like, that word, but yet you're still gonna do your palette for it. Jeffree, we know that you care about money so much, so why are you suddenly like, you know, I didn't think this was gonna sell that much. It was just for shits and giggles, but we got so much stock of it, but, you know, we knew it wasn't gonna do well. Is anyone buying this? Bitch, is you buying this? Like, pull down your... you know what I mean? Like... girl, the lies of it all.
Filter for Instagram here got denied. Anything that you tag with will not be pushed and have lower engagement. So I knew what I was getting myself into.
He knew what he was getting himself into, but yet he pushed it like it was going to be his biggest release yet on social media. By the way, on social media, which he's saying, you know. I think he just wasn't expecting the fact that the lingering from the cancellation of him, if you want to say, was still there. Like a month after. Because it didn't go away like that. You know who said it wouldn't go away like that? Me. You know who also said it? Most people! His video responding to it was shit. People were already over him by that stage. You know what? Jeffree Star will bounce back. He'll be fine. He's getting his names in drama channels and tabloids every single day. He's fine. We're aware of that. He's just uncancelable for some reason, but that's not going to stop us holding him accountable and letting you know what he's doing. You know what I mean? But the fact that he's now this businessman who loves money and he's like, yeah, we knew this word was not going to get pushed. But we still went ahead with it, you know, just for shits and giggles. It's just like a little quirky decision. Y'all, this is not how it works. As a business point of view, that's not how it works.
But I'm like, girl, it's a word, and it really isn't of nudes. Past the
so now he's like, yeah, but it's just a word. So are you kind of saying, why weren't they pushing it?
Sexual, feeling really, really humbled and really grateful. So thank you if you're watching this.
And Jeffree Star is someone who has built their entire career on social media, back in the MySpace days. So you're telling me this social media business person did this wanting less sales? Just saying that sounds so ridiculous. And I'm not a businessman, right? But I know that what you just said is so... It makes no sense! You're like, I knew it wasn't gonna get pushed. I knew no one was gonna see this launch, but you know what? I'm excited about it. I'm so grateful. I'm so humbled. What? And girl, if this has been your most successful release that you tried to go on Instagram and saying, then why didn't it sell out? Why is it just like not performing to your standard that you set? Is it social media's fault? Because social media is pushing it. It was on my YouTube trending. I'm not subscribed to you, Jeffree, and it came up on my YouTube as well. Like, it was pushed. It was pushed. Just something about the fact that he couldn't have even came on and been like, you know what, the launch wasn't the most successful, I'll do better. Maybe I'll work on a better shade. Maybe I'll work on... Like, he couldn't have even just humbled himself a little bit, but yet he says, I'm so humbled. By what? You're humbled by what? The lack of sales? Like, what is he humbled by? The criticism? This makes no sense. You cannot go through what Jeffree went through in the months of June and July, being exposed for so many things, not addressing it, running away from it, then partying with people, Black China and all these other people, while Shane, your best friend, your family's getting dragged, and then you come back and you use the Black Lives Matter movement, and then you don't apologize for that whenever people are finding offense in that, which is very clear why you exploited it, and it didn't work, because we're not listening. And you know why we're not listening? Because you couldn't have even pronounced Elijah's name properly. You used to do a voiceover. That still gets me so fucking angry to this day. But how can you expect to do that and then go from, I'm going to do better, talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and that there are more important things happening in the world, and then be like, now let's talk about my summer drop. In his video that got millions upon millions of millions views, everyone talking, he talked about this. So actually, this had, may I say, just a little bit less, but almost the same amount of promo as the conspiracy palette. In terms of a social media reach, I'm sure if he did a couple more of them apology videos and said it and all them, he would probably still have the same results, but it would still be the same as like a Shane docuseries, you know what I mean? Jeffree would call out his competition for a failing product, but he won't for himself. Listen, I would have at least gave him some credit if he came on. I was like, you know what? This was not the most successful. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have evaluated my life more, done another bullshit apology. That would actually be better than him just coming on like, I'm so humbled. This was so successful. Bitch, humble yourself. I know he mega fuming. He mega fuming. Oh my god, you just know it. Those smiles and those Instagrams. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much for buying. It's not sold out just yet, but I'm sure it will be soon. You're like fucking manipulating the screen. It's like the conspiracy logo goes right. So guys, what did he think was gonna happen? He made a palette called the Ogre palette. Okay, we'll say that. With the most sexual packaging ever. Right hot in the heels of a scandal. Used his apology video to promote this. He came back with a launch sooner than he did YouTube videos. He was working on this launch whenever he was being cancelled. Think about that. So guys, God, this is so messy. Allegedly. I love you. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sitting and talking with me and listening. What do you think about the fact that Jeffree's still just not owning up to the fact that the palette wasn't the most successful? Should we say that, Jeffree? God. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in my next video. And you know what, guys? I'm so incredibly humbled. That's what I'm going to do whenever one of my videos flops now. I'm going to be like, I used a keyword that they just weren't going to promote. But I'm so humbled. Bye.